Now, if you're a new player or you have been playing Airsoft for a while, you always need to protect your eyesight. Now, I will start off this video with one question. What are you using as your eye protection? Like, are you using glasses, goggles, full face mask, or anything else? I want to know because it's interesting for me to know what people use. And I have been playing for a while and I still don't know the correct answer on what is the best thing to protect your eyesight. But I do want to talk about it, and we will not go into detail about all the different types. We're just going to focus on glasses itself for today, because all the other things, we will cover that in later videos. We will also not go in too much of a detail about all the things that need to be marked on the frame or on the glass, like the fog, the scratchiness, all those numbers and letters that are somewhere marked on your piece of eyewear, because that is a whole different rabbit hole to dive into. And yes, we're gonna make a video about that because not a lot of people actually know what the number stands for, and I do want to go a little bit more in detail about that later. So what are we going to talk about if we're not talking about numbers, we're not talking about different kinds of materials, we're not talking about different types of eye protection? We're just gonna talk about glasses, and like the title says, we're gonna talk about expensive ones and cheap ones. And we're specifically gonna talk about glasses that are in the EN166F category. Rob, you said you're not gonna talk about numbers. Well, we have to start somewhere. This is the basic that every safety glass should fall into. If not, throw it in the bin and buy some decent eye protection glasses. Well, I say EN166F because that's the European norm. There is also the American norm, which is, I need to check, that is the Z87 Plus norm. And there is also some other norms. So we're not gonna go into too much detail about all the different norms. We're just gonna compare two eye protection glasses that are in the same category. Well, not even really, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And to make it even more fun, in a few months, years, all glasses will be in the same category because there's an ISO standard coming up, which is combining the EN standard and the American standard into one. So yes, the glasses are not that easy to explain, so that's why we're going to start step by step and making different videos about each small category in the protection detail glasses. A little bit more information about why we chose this standard to start off with, the EN166F. Now, Airsoft doesn't have any specific norms on what the protection needs to be fulfilling for. We just use different norms from different industries and we put it to use for Airsoft. And that's why institutions as federations, associations, European Federation, international federations are important to put those rules into place so everybody can play safely Airsoft. Now, we have been using EN166F for years now, and it has been tested, and we almost had no problem with injuries within that category if the eye protection was used the right way and it was stored the correct way. And for all you people out there that want to test their glasses, those things have been tested, and if they have the EN166F certification and it has been manufactured in a factory that fulfills the requirements to be a decent industry to manufacture things like that, you can trust your safety glasses that they will be okay. You're not testing your airbag to see if it's working. There is a regulation in place, and that's why it's important that you check the norm before you buy a pair of Airsoft glasses. Well, safety glasses. And it is a big question that I've been asking myself, is it necessary to invest in expensive glasses, or can I get away with cheap glasses? Because the price difference is quite big. This is about 150 euros or $150, and this is about 15 euros or $15. So you can buy 10 of those before you can have one of those. And specifically, this is the Uvex Fails or something, which is a standard safety glass. And this is the Wiley X Rogue Com version. And while both of those have served me during different long and short games, I recently switched to Wiley X glasses instead of going for the Uvex Fails. But why have I switched? Or why did I want to try something different? And after an interesting talk with Wiley X about safety standards, and that was after I got this to test and I already have been using it for a while, and we just sat down to talk about this specific question. Why should I buy an expensive one if the cheap one is doing the same purpose, protecting my eyes? And we came to an interesting conclusion, because yes, they are doing the same thing. They are protecting your eyes, but we struggle to put a name on it, classify what's the difference. Now, if you buy a game for your computer and you want to know if you can run the game, you have your minimal requirements that you can look up on the internet. That will run the game but not good. It will not be the best quality. It will not be how it should be run on the computer. And then you have the recommended requirements, and that is what you need to run the game in the best optimal way that it has been intended to play. And this is the same with the safety glasses. This is the minimal requirement you need to protect your eyesight. This is the recommended eye protection that you need to run a game in Airsoft. And I will go a little bit deeper into that, because yes, this is just protecting your eyes. And if you put this on, it will protect you completely. The fit is correct because that is what it stands for. That's the EN166F. But as you can see, it is falling off. So if I look down, it might fall down, which is not optimal. So I wear a beanie hat to make sure that it's not happening. For people with a smaller head, this might actually not fit. With people with a bigger head, it might also not fit because it's gonna stretch too much. So actually, when I'm leaning forward and the glass is dropping down, this is creating a risk. While the glass is still doing the protection detail, if it's not worn the correct way, it will not protect yourself. Now, if we take the more expensive YDX glass and we put this on our head and look forward and I wiggle around, it is not falling off. Why? Because this is a better formed way to grab around your head and make a nice snug seal to protect it. So while the glass is the same, the protection is not the same, because this is easier to fall off. Now then we go to a different thing, which is fogging up. Now this UVEX is one of the best anti-fog glasses that I have found. It will not fog up. Whatever you do, it will not fog up. But the protection layer is not the best. So after a few games, it will start crumbling because of the sweat. But I can use 10 of those before I buy one of those. Now the anti-fog layer on this one is also really good. As you can see, it's not fogging up, but I need to clean this better. And because it has a better anti-fog system, I don't need to replace it after a few uses because it has been damaged like this one. So again, initially, both doing the same thing. This one is just doing it better. Now I chose this one to use because of the very good anti-fog layer, but you have glasses that are in the same price category that don't have that good anti-fog layer. So if you have worse anti-fog layer than this one, this will take you out of the field while your glasses are fogging up, so you miss a lot of game time. And also, it's just not fun playing with fogged up glasses. And of course, in the right circumstances, all glasses will slowly start fogging up. And for this one, you just clean them. For this one, it's sometimes easier just to replace them with another one, which is not the best way of taking care of our environment if we just keep throwing plastic in the environment. Another thing about the fogging is that it creates another risk, because if your glasses are fogging up, what are you going to do? You're going to start cleaning it, which create a hole or an opening where a BB can start hitting you. And if it starts fogging up, you might have seen on the field people take off their glasses and they start cleaning them. This is the worst way of cleaning your glasses in the field while looking to the enemy. I would not recommend that. Actually, don't do it. And how many times is it okay for your glass to fog up before this starts becoming a better solution? Is it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times? I don't know how you value your playtime and how you want to enjoy your playtime. Because if you enjoy it, you go with anti-fog glasses. If you're new and you have no idea, your glasses will start fogging up. Another thing that is different between those two, this is fixed. Right? There's nothing you can do with it. This is one solution for, well, this is one thing that does everything. The YDX has interchangeable glasses, so if you want to have a clear one, a dark one, a yellow one, this is all included in this package. Now, not all glasses have interchangeable lenses, but this one has, and this is the reason why I like this one and some similar types in their inventory. So even though, yes, this is still more expensive than this one gives you 3 lenses. So basically 3 glasses. So we're already getting closer. Well, this is still serving an important purpose in my backpack, but I'm gonna come to that in a little bit. And you remember I told you that there are no differences in those 2 glasses if you take the EN166F norm. That was not exactly right, because this is the EN166F norm, And Wiley X has ballistic glasses. They don't really have a consumer norm. This is a military standard norm, which is tested for a lot of other things except the ballistic impact of your glasses. It's also about how it's comfortable to wear, because soldiers need to wear this for a very long time. While this is easily to be removed in normal situation, soldiers need to wear this for a very long time. So this has a military standard, while this has not. But both wear the same EN 166 norm on the frame and then etched in the glass. So as you might have noticed, it's not easy to give you one answer which glasses are the best to buy and why you should maybe invest in an expensive one or just go with the cheaper ones. But I will give you my recommendation, and then afterwards I will give you what I'm using and what I'm happy about. Alright, so in general, what do you need? First, your glasses need to have the EN166F norm on the glass and on the frame, and it needs to fit your face as good as possible so you don't have any gaps around where a BB can penetrate. And this is the basic norm. This is the minimal requirement you need to play Airsoft. Anything lower than this, just throw it in the bin and buy something. This is 15 euros and it will protect your eyesight really well. Now, it is important to check the paperwork with your glasses because, for example, this one is good for 2 years after you opened it and 6 years after the manufacture date. And the safety standards only work if you follow the instructions that are given in the paperwork included with the protection gear. And then if we want to step it up, we go to the Wiley X Rogue Calm Edition or any other Wiley X glasses that has the special military rating. This is a huge step up in comfortability and just way of using your safety glasses. It's good enough to protect you and it will be comfortable to use. And every pair of glasses that is approved for military use, ballistic military use, they will be good enough for Airsoft and a lot of extra good stuff that might come in handy for us that like to be in the field a little bit longer. And I've spoken about the Calm in the Rogue Calm. Yes, I will make a video more specifically about this glass because I really like it. The Calm stands for very thin earpieces. It will not interfere with your ear protection when wearing it. While this one might make a small gap where the sound can come in, this is as flat as possible so the muffles are completely closed in over your ears. But even with this ones, the more expensive one, you need to replace them like every few years because they start getting damaged anyway. And to have the optimal protection and follow the instruction on the website or the paperwork that is with the glasses, you need to replace them every few years. Now, what do I use? Well, I actually use both. This is my main protection glass that I wear during the game. This one I have in my backpack as a spare, and I really recommend bringing an extra set of glasses in the field because you never know what's going to happen. Because the eyes are very important and we want to keep them. So I use this as my main one. I always have a backup one like this in my backpack because, well, having two of those is expensive. This is cheap as a backup, but this one, the expensive one, I use that as my main protection glasses. Now, I do want to thank Mark from Wiley for sitting down with me and talk about glasses, because this is not the most interesting topic for a lot of people when you're talking about gun stuff, but it is very important. So we sat down, and hopefully in the future we're going to sit down again to talk about all the numbers and letters that are on glasses so we can make a new video about this. And with this start of the safety series for Airsoft eyewear, I do hope that you learned some new stuff. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. And if you want to see some different videos about the eyewear, like different types of eyewear, let me know and I will see where I can plan it in to make different videos. I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting me so I can make videos like that are not supported by any company or it's not sponsored. This is me talking about the things that I'm passionate about, and that is Airsoft. And I want people to be as safe as possible when they play Airsoft. So thank you very much, and more information about my Patreon you can find in the description. And with this, I want to wish you a very good rest of the day, and I hope I see you next week for a new video. Bye.